everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. Honored as always to be with you today. I got that question. How are you? And how are you with yourself? I've been spending a lot of time recently with many different people, being busy and out and about. And you can be busy and insular, but in this case, being busy and out and about and being able to observe myself and others as we just move through space and live our lives. And also looking at social media and how we tell the stories of our lives and what we're doing and how we are engaging others. And I love, love, love all the positive stories. There's so many great things that people share that they're doing. And I am a big believer in claiming the positive. That is how I live my life. Claim the positive. What is going on that's great that we can hold on to, especially when lots of other things are happening. And by the way, there's always something happening. There are always ups and downs. No matter what is going on, there is a high note and a low note. That's just life. And you hear me many times talking about finding the positive in whatever the experience is. And I believe that. I've been thinking about it though, and going deeper, deeper, deeper into this concept of choosing the positive and looking for greatness within and without. All of that is important. And it is also important for us to be honest with ourselves. What is going on in your life? Seriously, ask yourself, do you know how you feel? Are you paying attention to whatever's happening in your actual physical body? Are you getting warning signs that there's something you should pay attention to? Are you paying attention to whatever that is? Do you wake up in the night with messages for yourself and listen to them or ignore them? Do you tell yourself the truth about your state of being, your state of mental health, your state of spiritual health, of physical health? Do you tell yourself the truth about your state? Do you pretend to others and even more to yourself about your state, about how you're doing? And I'm going to say a lot of us pretend to ourselves. A lot of us convince ourselves that everything is okay when it's not. Are you hearing me? A lot of us convince ourselves that everything is okay when it's not. Now, I am not in any way trying to say, let's take on all of the weight of our world and then because perhaps it could crush us. I don't mean that. But the message today, be honest with yourself, which is, I want us to look as deeply as we can at what that means. It's like, do not be delusional. Do not convince yourself that whatever picture you have painted of your life is true if it's not. Don't lie to yourself. Forget for a moment what you tell other people. Don't lie to yourself. Are you taking care of yourself in the best possible way? When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see yourself? Do you see what's really going on in your life? Do you allow yourself to experience your vulnerabilities? Do you allow yourself to see what isn't working well? Do you? Sometimes it's hard to do that because it can feel very delicate. It can feel, vulnerability is difficult for us to handle. Yet it's the only way that we can grow and step into the fullness of our potential. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to. And I'm going to tell you right here now that it's difficult to do, especially if you're wearing a mask of some kind that says, this is how I want my life to be. And so I'm going to live like that. Like I remember I talked to the surviving children of a man I worked with some years ago. And I remember him saying, act as if. That was his thing. He would always say, act as if. So you may not be wherever it is you want to be, but act as if you are. And then one day, perhaps you will be there. And act as if. I listened to that. I listened to him say it, and then I listened to his children say it at his funeral. I had mixed emotions about this. I do understand, what life do you want for yourself? Envision that life for yourself and make it a goal to get there. I do agree with that, but I think you have to be honest with yourself too. Where am I and what will it take to get where I want to be? Where am I? What will it take? What do I need to do in order to evolve into whatever I want for myself? And find a path and strength to get there clearly, without delusion. I see Donna saying hello. Hello back, Donna, and hello to all of you who have joined just now. We are looking at this notion of be honest with yourself. And what does it mean when you do that? And what does it mean when you don't? What does it mean when you look at the people that you surround yourself with? Honestly, do these people deserve to be in my life or not? Have I set myself up in such a way that I'm uplifting myself, honoring myself, really honoring myself, so that if there are people that I've included in my world who don't deserve to be there, that I say bye. I walk away. I say, I don't need you anymore. And by the way, that's a really difficult thing to do. But it's really important to be able to stand up for yourself and to be able to be strong enough to walk away when you need to. And I can tell you from my personal experience, there have been times when I wasn't strong enough, when I feel like I allowed someone to have my mind. Some of you may understand what I mean. And it took me down a really uncomfortable, unhealthy path. And something happened to make me kind of snap out of it. I am not seeing clearly. I'm looking through a vision that is not real. I'm looking at a situation where I want it to be a certain way, but it's not. I remember my mother telling me one time, someone I was interested in years ago, who was basically a player. And she's like, you can't convince him to be other than what he is. You make yourself crazy if you try to do that. And her comment was, to know him is to know that. And that was something I thought about. To know the people in your life for who they are is important, because it allows you to see clearly. To know yourself for who you are. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your vulnerabilities? What are your interests? What do you want for your life? And to honor that and nurture that, and like in gardening, clear out the debris that doesn't belong there. All of that is so important. I'm looking at some of the messages that are coming in. I see Hi, Donna Torrance. How are you, dear? Good to see you. I see the brand Phoenix. Okay, you're talking about something that we can talk about offline, I think. Kimberly Harry, good morning. Thank you for saying where you are in Detroit. Folks, let me know where you are. Right now, I'm in Sag Harbor, New York. Wherever you are, I want you to go into the space of your heart and take inventory. If you had to give yourself a report card on whether you are honest with yourself, what would happen? Kim Baker, hey girl, what would happen if you're honest with yourself right now about how honest you are with yourself? From 1 to 10, 10 being I take off the mask. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not. What would you say about yourself? How good are you today? And how good are you at aligning yourself with the right people who are going to support you and honor you and nurture you, or not? I'm asking you. And most of us is not 10, if you're honest. Most of us, it vacillates, because in any given moment, depending upon what our needs are, what we think we need for our lives, will kind of determine what the compromises are that we're willing to make. And that's something that I wanted us to take a look at. Donna says she's at 7. Good, Donna. 7 is a good number. It's an honest number. It means you're not saying you're perfect, but it's a good number. How about others of you? Write in the chat box, how honest do you think you are with yourself, and how strong is that muscle of recognizing this is what I need, this is who deserves to be in my life. The ones who don't, I'm willing to at least, create some boundary, some space around me. The Brand Phoenix says Black moms need this. Kimberly says maybe a 6. Thank you for being honest. Part of getting stronger in this space is practice. That's why we meditate, to draw upon our inner resources and invite ourselves to see who we are, see what we need, see how we can be our very best and show up to be our very best each day. Virginia says 4. Virginia, thank you for being honest. I see some 7s, some 4s, some 6s. We have work to do. And guess what? There are times when it could not even be 4. When I'm going backwards now, but I want to say this out loud, because I was with, there's a woman that I know out here, out east, who is, so this is a little bit deep, but I just want to, I think it's safe to say with you, but she created a group of Black women who are survivors of abuse. And this, how you can never tell how you look at people what's happening. She would never know that anything at all bad had ever happened to her, because we're great at pretending. She created this group because people are so good at pretending, not being honest with themselves. And she herself suffered abuse and took a long time for her to heal. And when I was in college, I also suffered abuse from a boyfriend. And I remember, be honest with myself, hardly. I felt like he had my brain. Like, I just remember doing things that made no sense. I remember walking across a playground like at 3:00 in the morning to go bang on his door because he was cheating, but he kept lying and saying he wasn't. I think they call that gaslighting now. And I wanted to prove that I wasn't crazy by walking across a black, dark black playground in the middle of the night. Dangerous. When we aren't true to ourselves, when we don't allow ourselves to be full with ourselves and give our power to somebody else, what happens? Thank God I did not get hurt that time, or by somebody else being in the night. But why am I mentioning this? What is your secret? What is going on in your life, if anything, that is getting you out of alignment with who you are? If there is anything, that's a really tragic thing. And I remembered it because I just saw this woman a couple of days ago, and she had asked me if I would support her and this group to just make sure that women who need that support know that it's there. But it could be anything. It doesn't have to be that extreme. It could be like another thing that many of us deal with is our weight, our health. Are we eating right? Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we drinking water? Are we moving? My husband's always talking about move, get up and move. He walks every morning on the beach. He's also photographing birds, and this is how he has his peace. How do I have my peace? I'm definitely working more than I should be working. Move. He's like, move your body. If you don't move your body, what happens? I sometimes tell myself, well, I've got this list of things I have to do, and I just have to do them. And they have to get done. And his point is, you have to move your body or you won't be able to do anything. Be honest with yourself. When I am honest with myself about this, like today, I'm saying it so much, so I would definitely, because I didn't do it this morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk. Because walking used to be the thing that I did all the time. So what did you do all the time for yourself that you could recommit to? What can you do for you to be true to yourself, to be honest with yourself? Now, let's look at the quote. I found a quote. It was hard to find quotes because nothing exactly was hitting the point that I wanted to make, but this is a good one that I found. Honesty is more than not lying. You hear that? It is truth-telling, truth speaking, truth living, and truth loving. This is from James E. Faust. So let's break this down a little bit. Honesty is more than not lying. So just that alone, we know, because I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to speak on whatever the topic is, but that doesn't mean that you're telling the truth. If you keep your lips sealed when something should be said, are you being honest? Maybe not. If you don't say anything when you know something that's going on isn't right, well, so you're not lying and saying, but are you telling the truth? Truth telling can be hard. Faust says that honesty is truth telling. Truth telling. I thought about that recently. I can't not remembering who the person was, but there was a person that I know who runs a business, and as do I, and we were talking about how we work with people over time, and how we tell people or not, and not just us, but people who are bosses. How do you provide feedback? Do you provide feedback? And there was a study that was done recently that said that Black people in general get the least specific feedback, especially in corporate America. That, if there's a job interview, sorry, we gave it to somebody else. If you're in a job, sometimes when you lose your job, do they tell you why? No, we're just moving in another direction. You want to move up and you want to know what you can improve on. Often, this is a study that was done that says that Black people tend to get very vague input. I always give specific input because I want specific input so that I can grow. And I think that I owe that to anyone who's working with me. Truth telling. Sometimes it's hard to tell the truth, especially if it's something that needs a tweak. You are going to tell somebody, this could have been done better this way. That debrief that I think is so important in any kind of work environment. Many people don't tell the truth, even when telling the truth can help to make a situation better. So I'm asking you, do you tell the truth when it's hard to tell the truth? Do you? And if you don't, start practicing that. Truth speaking. Faust says honesty is truth speaking. I always want to say things in as kind of a way as possible, but I want it to be honest. Don't you want information shared with you to be honest? I do not want to hear something that's a lie. I don't. I want to hear something that is clearing a path to what is real. And James Faust says, honesty is truth loving. This takes a really intense muscle to have the muscle to say, I choose to love the truth even when it's hard to accept. I choose to align myself with what is real, what is accurate, what is true, not just about me, but about my environment. Not easy to do, friends, but worth it. I'm looking at some of your comments. Let's see, accurate. Is it accurate simplicity? I'm a 6'7". I'm starting to really consider my friendships. With friendships, look, the people who we love are so important. It's our lifeblood, love, connection. It's so important. And people don't always end up staying friends forever. Iyanla Vanzant says friends for a reason, friends for a season, friends for life. Not everybody gets to be a friend forever. You evaluate those relationships to decide, is this forever or not? Not everyone gets to stay forever, and that's okay. You can bless them goodbye. Donna says, sometimes people depend on me so much that I need time for me. Yes. So this is something that is very common for women, men too, but very commonly women, it's in our nature to be nurturing. And many powerful women find ourselves filling other people's cups all the time. And then you end up exhausted and wonder, why am I so tired? And when you're tired, you end up often being brittle and frustrated and pointing that finger like, what did you do? And by the way, even though I said it's many women, it's many people. So for everybody who's listening, if this is true about you, yes, it's true about many of us. If they say that there are givers and takers, many of us are givers. And if you give, and you don't replenish, then you're just exhausted and you can get sick. You can get mentally, spiritually, psychologically sick, and physically sick if you don't take the time to fill your cup. So what does fill your cup mean? Back to today's theme, be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, what does it mean? Like literally for me, when I'm really busy, I put on my list, drink water. Because sometimes I don't drink enough water. If I put it on the list, I'm remembering and going back to water. When you drink enough water, your body feels better. It's very simple. Are you eating at regular times? When we're busy, when we feel stressed, we're often not eating or overeating. What about you? Do you pay attention to your food intake and your state? I mentioned before, moving. Physically moving your body, stretching, finding ways to empower your physical being so that you honor your physical being. What can you do right now to engage your truth more deeply? What can you do right now to edit your relationships so that those that don't serve you aren't there, that you push them back? What can you do for yourself right now to be healthier? V. King says, I've been guilty of it. I do it far less than I used to now that I'm aware of myself. This is the thing. Awareness helps us to grow and to fine tune, right? So people don't deserve to be in our space. Over time, you learn, and as you get older, you learn, you don't deserve. You don't have to tell them that. You just stop including them. Well, sometimes you have to tell them, but sometimes it's just you stop picking up the phone. You stop sending a text because, like I described with that crazy relationship I had when I was young, it almost felt like an addiction. Like it was hard for me to get detangled, disentangled from him. And then when I realized, oh my goodness, my brain was free, my heart was free. That has happened in work situations. I had a client once, it was a great project, paid really well, but the way that this client behaved honestly was abusive. The tone, the way that she spoke to me, the way that she didn't honor time, the way that she treated my team, it wasn't good. And I had to make the decision to extricate myself from a relationship where it was paying really well. I mention this to you because plenty of folks have jobs. And I am not saying walk away from your job, especially with this volatile economy, except for I am saying if you are doing something that is eating away at your spirit, do something else. Make a decision. Be honest with yourself about what you're doing, how it's impacting you, and figure out a way out. I've talked to so many people on my other program, Dreamleapers, that airs on Saturdays. I've interviewed so many people who were in situations where it felt like they were butting their heads against the wall. They pivoted, and then their lives blossomed in incredible ways. It can sometimes feel like you're just so afraid, you can be paralyzed, that you can't make a change. But I'm telling you, sometimes you need to, sometimes you must, for your heart, for your spirit. And you could go back and look at these interviews that I've talked to so many people who made a pivot because something wasn't working in their life. And then their whole world began to manifest differently, much more brightly. The same. Okay. Oh, Cheryl, you are at Curated Simplicity. Hi, Cheryl. I hope that this message is coming across clearly. When you are honest with yourself, take the layers off. You know, an exercise that I often give people when I'm in a physical space with them, but I'm gonna tell it to you right now because you are home, so it's even easier. I tell them when you go home today, do this. Here's what I want you to do. Stand in front of a mirror, full-length mirror if you have one. Take all of your clothes off. Now, for me, I got to keep my glasses on because I can't see. Everything else, take everything off. Stand in front of that mirror and look at yourself, head to toe, slowly turning. I know, front to back. And as you turn and you look at yourself, offer yourself love. I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. It doesn't matter. Okay, you got a belly? So do I. I love that belly just the way it is. I love myself just the way I am. Head to toe, front to back, slow pivot. Now, you may be seeing things you wish weren't there. You may be wishing that you were, like I have a 21-year-old daughter. I look at her and go, I remember when I looked like that. She's not me. I'm not at that stage in life. Where are you now? Can you love yourself as you are? And can you love yourself into better health? Better physical health, spiritual health, emotional health. You can. You can by being honest with yourself. Assess your world. Who and what deserves to be in it, and who and what deserves to go. How can you fortify yourself to be your strongest? How can you create space so that you can be vulnerable and protected, that you can feel safe and loved and free? It's not easy, but it's our job. to be honest with ourselves and to find that space. And so I say to all of you, every day, tell yourself that you love yourself. Every day, take those cleansing breaths and remind yourself that you are worthy of all of the greatness that you can imagine. And then welcome that. Look for that. Harvest that. Let your world be filled with that abundance. And the things that don't serve you, allow them to dissipate. This is not easy to do. This is work for a lifetime. It's worth it because you're worth it. Thank you so very much for joining with me. Thank you for trusting me to help guide you to a place that can open your heart a little bit more. I hope that the stories that I share with you about myself help you to look at your own, whatever they are. They don't have to be like mine, just whatever they are. We deserve love. We deserve joy. We deserve peace. We deserve happiness. We deserve all the great things that we can imagine. And we have to create space in our lives so that there's room for us to welcome them in. And that means letting go of the things that don't belong. Love yourself. Be honest with yourself. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.